This is Yosef Bruer for ESFI, and I'm sitting with Grubby at IPL5 in Las Vegas. Grubby, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing not too bad.
Yeah.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you been enjoying Vegas so far?
So I got a little bit sick, so I've been mostly resting.
Yeah.
Last night was the first night I actually properly went out, and for the rest I've just been focusing on doing a good job at shoutcasting.
Awesome. It wasn't food poisoning again, was it?
No, not this time. This time I think it was 2 months of incessant travel.
Well, I want to start off by talking about IEM. Going into IEM, did you think that you were going to be the one to make it to the finals? Looking at the players list, all the good top Koreans in there as well.
All right. So when I saw the player list, I thought it was going to be like my chance,
Right.
because I thought there were a lot of good players, but a lot of them were Protoss and Zerg, and my PvT matchup isn't as good. And I thought the biggest favorites for the tournament were in fact Protoss. Like I thought MC was maybe or probably going to win it.
Okay.
So pretty confident in my PvP matchup, and I like it. So I thought I could do well, and I was pretty psyched for it.
Awesome. Why did you use the proxy gate against Sting in Game 5? I mean, it takes a lot to do like a cheesier thing to start off in a big game like Game 5 for the win. So, I mean, what made you want to do that? Going into
It was like he did Command Center first in Game 1 and 2, and he won both. He didn't do Command Center first in Game 3 and 4, and he lost both. So I figured he was going to use common sense and make Command Center first in the 5th game. But he didn't do his 1-1-1 build yet, like properly, and I knew that was one of his builds too. So I had to choose whether he's going to CC first or 1-1-1. And I played him on the ladder before, and I didn't beat his 1-1-1 very often. Now, of course, I feel like I should have given it a chance and try to focus on that, just play a regular straight-up game, see if he goes 1-1-1, like Banshee, Tank, and Marine, and then just hope I do everything well and with my mental preparation. But I thought he was going to go CC first, and I thought it was going to be a brilliant move. But in fact, it's something that put me quite behind.
What is it about you that can go 0-2 to start off against Slivka and Sting, but be able to come back those next 2 games straight, against Slivka 3 games straight, and still be a top player, still be like you're not nervous, you don't seem to be tilted at all? Is that just the experience from playing Warcraft coming into now? Does that even affect you at all, being down in the series?
Well, it really depends on how the games are going. Like against Slivko, after I lost Game 2, I mapped out my plan for the next 3 games, and I felt like I was going to win all the 3. But sometimes when I'm losing 0-2 and I just feel outmatched in every way, even though I'm showing my absolute best, then I could be more mentally in trouble.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel tilted in these situations because I knew why I lost, and I was going to change my game plan accordingly.
Awesome. Well, after performing so well at IEM, will you make casting more or less a regular thing than before your really good performance at IEM? Do you think you'll maybe look at it like, I kind of want to play. I know I can get to the finals. I know what kind of player I am. What do you think about that?
Actually, after IEM, I felt much more motivated to play as many more tournaments as possible shortly thereafter, because I feel like, it's going well. And I even learned some things about the games I lost. So really wanted to play more, but there's nothing right now like immediately for me to play. So it's gonna settle down for a while. So I have to try and hope to keep what made me play well at IEM alive until the next tournament.
Awesome. Well, we are in IPL5 now, and you've been casting all weekend long. What players have you seen up and coming, already really good, that have just been showing awesome games this weekend, that have just really, you've seen a great performance out of? If you had to choose, let's say, 1 Zerg, 1 Protoss, and 1 Terran.
1 Zerg, 1 Protoss, and 1 Terran who did well here.
Or who you see that, I guess, isn't improving. Like maybe not even doing well. I mean, Lucifron and Vortex have been doing awesome this week. Didn't show, this year, but didn't show too much in their play this weekend. But I mean, anybody.
I feel like the player list here at IPL5 is so elite that I can't truly say I'm surprised by any particular player. But if I look at the loser bracket runs of some players, I would say I was quite surprised by Boong Boong, because he won like 7 rounds in a row in the loser bracket. That's quite impressive. But I didn't actually get to see any of his games personally, so it's more like a statistical surprise for my part than where I really saw someone play and I was like, wow. For the rest, well, no Protosses into the top 8. Of course, I'm still a Protoss as well, besides an objective caster. So that made me a bit sad. And in the end, I didn't actually get to see like a sick amount of games. I listen to the other casters any chance I get, especially ZVT and ZVZ, because I feel like I have a lot to learn still in those matchups. So hearing Artosis and Tasis cast the GSL finals also provides me with some insight, which then I try to use in my cast later on when I do that myself. But I think all the players here were so elite that it's really hard to say like, wow, I totally didn't expect that.
Well, what do you think about Zerg's performance as of late? I mean, they've really been making it to the finals and winning a lot of these tournaments in the last couple months. What do you think about the overall balance of the game?
So I just saw this post by Tyler, which he tweeted. It's this this community guy. He wasn't sure whether he was exactly accurate, but he thinks more or less. And he took the 8 or so tournaments from November. And apparently the balance is between 51 and 49% between all the matchups, with Protoss 49% against both races, I think, against Terran and Zerg. Or I think, no, 51% against Zerg. So apparently the statistical balance is okay, which in a one way is comforting. But on the other hand, I think let's say the game design, like how it's currently working out, needs a little improvement because of certain monotonies, and because certain races are very strong in the early game and other races are very strong in the late game. I think I'm surprised that Zerg doesn't have more than roughly 51% or so. So because I think they're pretty strong right now, and of course the good old combination of Infestor Broodlord is hard to counter for both races. Particularly, it seems like Zerg had a big advantage over Terran. Like in general, because just in general.
Well, from what you've seen this weekend, who do you think will take it all? Which Zerg or which Terran?
I think Lenok is making a very strong case for himself because he's so good at ZVZ, and he's already he just won the winner bracket finals, and it seems like he's really good in every matchup. Just been playing really sick, like both smart moves and really solid mechanics, and just a very good game sense. So. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, over the past few months, or maybe just the past few weeks, you've been in Korea and you've been doing a lot of vlogging. How's that been, being in Korea, vlogging, seeing all your fans, being out there more on social medias? How have you been enjoying that in Korea itself?
Well, like I used to write written blogs back in the day, and video blogs are just such an easy and leisurely way for me to kind of show what I'm doing. And I mean, we make them really fast. We just record them and we put them online, and it's fun, and people seem to like it, even if it's about food or lifestyle. And sometimes, of course, I talk about tournaments and so on. People like it, I like it, so it's pretty nice. And I just remember, like back in the Warcraft 3 days, there wasn't. Of course, YouTube already existed, but I wasn't as experienced with those things, and just the community was smaller, so I always felt like more removed in a way from the fans. Now there's like so many ways to connect, like the stream and Twitter and vlog, so I'm really enjoying that interaction.
Awesome. Have you had any time to play Heart of the Swarm? I mean, you've been traveling a lot these last few months, so I don't know if you've had too much time to do it, but what do you think about Heart of the Swarm?
Yeah, I've been at home for like 2 days in the last 2 months, and they weren't connected either. It was 2 separate days.
Oh man.
I've been traveling so much, so I haven't played any Heart of the Swarm beta recently, but I would like to start if the beta is still up. Maybe in January or maybe late December. I really want to play it. I have been keeping up, however, with most of the changes and trying to kind of live through other people's games when watching their streams or reading the comments about it. And I heard Protoss is really strong, so that's nice.
So what you've seen so far from whatever you've been watching about Heart of the Swarm, what do you think about? Do you think Blizzard's going in the right direction with it from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Blizzard always tries to either add a second way of doing the same thing, which they tried with the Warhound, which mirrors kind of the Marauder, for various reasons that didn't work out, or they're trying to fill in one of the weaknesses of a race, and they try to fill this niche. I think the Tempest really does that very well, taking out Colossi and Broodlords, which are like, both Colossi and Broodlords are like one of Protoss' biggest enemies, which is why I always see those War of the Worlds and those late game stalemate situations. against Zerg. So I think that's very good. And then Oracle is like this unit with which we can harass, which was very hard before. Get in, get out, get the job done was could be quite tough with Protoss. Of course there were some ways, but I really think it provides a very nice interplay, and it makes Stargate play more relevant in general. So you'll see more carriers, more Void Rays, and more Phoenixes as well. Maybe even against Terran. So that's pretty cool. And then also, the other races units, I think the Viper, I think it's very visual. Abduct is visual in a way that Neural Parasite is not. So I wouldn't be sad if Neural disappeared and Abduct came there. It seems OP, but we got to remember in Brood War there was also a lot of OP abilities and units. So and I think Abduct looks really nice for the spectator. Like you pull this unit, it's very visual. So I'm pretty positive right now about Heart of the Storm.
You said earlier that you didn't think you had any tournaments planned for later on this month. We heard earlier this week that Home Story Cup 5 was going to delay their qualifiers to, I believe, start on the 7th or just maybe like the week after this. Are you going to try to qualify for that? And do you think you'd be excited to play in Home Story Cup 5 if you were to go?
I'd like to play in Home Story Cup 5. It's not confirmed for me whether I am able to, but I'd like to play if it's possible because it's always a super fun tournament.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Grubby, for the interview. I really appreciate your time. I know you've been casting all weekend long, pretty tired, not feeling too good, but thank you very much again for it. Did you want to give any last words or final thoughts?
I feel much better now. That's good. It's amazing what rest can do.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to give shout out to BenQ, Twitch, and Sony Xperia for sponsoring me. And a shout out to all the great feedback, I've been getting from the fans about my casting here. So thanks so much. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Grubby.